Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, the podcast. This is the very first episode of the MLB The Show 24 life cycle. And let me tell you, we've got some thoughts on this game. We're going to talk about all the thoughts in today's episode. So thank you guys for being here. If you guys played early release, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got that 4-ish day head start on the grind. If you're just picking up the game today, welcome to MLB The Show 24. I have already posted a handful of videos over the weekend of stuff you can watch to get caught up. Make sure you guys go check it out on YouTube. And before we really truly dive in, I want to give a special shout out to the folks over at SDS. I know some of you guys are listening. I appreciate you thoroughly. Sorry, I have a dog hair, My dog needs a haircut. Her hair's been friggin' everywhere. All over my face. It's everywhere. Long white hair. If you're going to get a dog, get a hairless one. Shout out to the folks at SDS. Because they sent me an early copy of the game a couple hours before you guys. For free, of course. I appreciate it. And they sent me a creator launch box. I am on the creator team now, apparently, and that's incredibly, unbelievably surreal. Never did I expect to get a launch box. I just thought I was going to scream into this microphone by myself ever since I started this podcast during the pandemic. So shout out to SDS. Thoroughly appreciate you guys. The past few months of kind of going back and forth with you all and being in the room for some conversations has been fruitful and productive and fun, and I look forward to more of that. So everybody, thoughts on this game. We have thoughts on the game, and we're going to go look at the game right now. So we're going to have a video tomorrow, by the way. Whiteboard Wednesday tomorrow is going to be about some of the minor issues MLB The Show 24 has. And when I say minor, they are minor. They are not game-breaking issues. They are just little things that we can maybe alert the devs about to make some progress towards potentially fixing. But the one thing I want to point out, the one minor flaw I want to point out in this episode of the podcast is the UI. The user interface is beautiful. It's super cool. However, it looks like a flashbang went off. And if it's dark in this room, I'm blinded. I can't see. It's so bright. I wish there was a dark mode. For a lot of people, it's going to be annoying. Again, hardly game breaking, doesn't actually matter in terms of how the game plays. But still worth mentioning. But, I mean, honestly, I said this in yesterday's 10-minute mailbag. So if you missed it, you'll be hearing this for the first time. It is incredibly early, and nobody with a sound mind would be making such a bold assumption already. Or a bold assertion, not assumption. Assertion already. But this game is really friggin' good. MLB The Show 24 has the potential to be one of the best games in the series. It's the honeymoon period. It's rose-colored glasses. I am ready to criticize constructively when it's time. If it's time. Let's be honest, just about everything can be constructively criticized. There might come a time. But for now, other than the little nitpicks we're going to talk about in tomorrow's YouTube video, Whiteboard Wednesday, I've got almost nothing but positive things to say. All of the new animations look pretty damn good, and they're playing pretty damn good. Some people with new swings or new pitching deliveries are very accurate. The faces and the emotions look great. It's nice to be back at a power creep. It feels like I'm making lineup decisions again, and I'm building my team. I have played a lot. Shocker. I know longtime listeners are not stunned by that. I have played a lot since it launched. My fiance has been incredibly nice to me and allowed me to do this. She's also had some plans with her friends as well, of course, because she knew this was happening. But still, I have completed the starter and spring breakout programs, which is not impressive. Just letting you guys know where I'm at. I have finished completely 5 of the 6 team affinities. The only one left is the NL West. I've been slow playing that one. In my head, there's really no urgency to finish these team affinities right now unless you want a specific player. There are a couple guys here that I might want to use, like Justin Turner's a fantastic bench bat. Brandon Webb might make the rotation. Charlie Blackmon has an okay swing, but he can't field. So there are a couple guys in here that I might want, but like nothing pressing. But I've played a lot. I've completed every conquest. I've completed every showdown. I have been schmoovin'. I already got the BR pack. Where's BR? Oh, I'm in single player. That's why. I already got the BR pack from the program. I did not complete the program, nor have I gone flawless yet at 10-0. But I'm getting there. I've gone at least 5 or 6-0 in every single run, and then I play absolute demons. I cannot wait for the rest of the general population to buy this game so I can have some easier games. But I've played this game a lot. And so the reason I bring that up, I think at this point already I've played enough innings to have a pretty good grasp of how the game is playing and working. Hitting might be in the best place it's ever been right now. That doesn't mean it's going to end the year that way, but right now, in this current moment, hitting is the best place it's been possibly ever, at least for the last 4 or 5 years. I think that's a fact. I think exit velos are up. I think whether it's because defenders aren't phenomenal yet, or maybe they made the field bigger again, I think balls are shooting gaps better. They're falling down the lines better. Maybe they have a little more topspin, so they're getting down. I don't know the physics behind it. All I know is that it feels good. One of the best changes so far is that, and again, I don't know if this is the exit velocity boost or if there was a concerted effort behind this. I was not part of these conversations. But it feels like every single stadium plays right. Like there's no canyons anymore. I said this in yesterday's video. If you missed it, here you go again. In BR, with live series Rhys Hoskins, who admittedly has like 80-ish power, I hit a perfect 450-foot home run to dead center field at Sportsman's Park. Sportsman Park is one of the classic stadiums. It's a dungeon. It's terrible to play in. But maybe it's not anymore because it might be working. The balance so far of this game makes me so happy. This game series, this franchise, had gotten so monotonous these last few years. You could only play at X number of stadiums because those are the only stadiums that played well. Everybody was a 99, so everybody was a 5-tool demon. Now you've got to make lineup choices. Like, look who I'm running right now. This is not like my official ranked lineup. I haven't played a ranked game yet. But like, Giancarlo Stanton's got 48 vision in right field. And we're playing that because you have to make that sacrifice. I want his power, so I'm going to deal with the vision. We have Stan Musial is DHing. He's got no friggin' power. None of it. But he's got max clutch, incredible vision, and his contact's through the roof. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make because he's incredibly balanced in all other areas. Look at this Colson Montgomery card. He's got minimum 80 in basically every hitting category. And in other years, we'd look at that card and be like, oh, that's trash. He's a really good shortstop right now. It's a product of the power creep guys, but it's also a product of SDS, the content team, like seemingly making decent decisions. What do I mean by that? Let me show you. So in the XP reward path, they did a couple really cool things. Not a lot of folks use Roberto Clemente at the end of the year when all the 99s come out. Let's start you out with an 85. Now he's one of the best, most usable cards in the game. At least day one. He won't be in a couple days, but at day one he was. Robin Roberts, not a soul uses him ever. It's an early game 85 that you can plug into your rotation, and you can bet your ass people will use it. That's just a great decision. So often, they hold these not incredibly sexy legends till so late in the game that no one cares about them, even if a 99 comes out. Now, you have a decent 85 Robin Roberts with the power creep. That isn't awful. Ryan Howard doesn't really count. This card is more of a bench bat because he's never seen a lefty before in his life. But here, Bruce Sutter. When are you ever going to use a Bruce Sutter? Almost never in most years. But now, because it's really, really, really hard to make an early game bullpen, you have a free 85 that you can get in probably like 3-ish days worth of playing from the XP path. It's decisions like that. It's like we can go through the team affinity guys. We're not going to go through every single team affinity guy. But like let's pick a division here. Let's go to the AL West. Let's look. Early game Ricky Henderson for you. Early game Mitch Haniger for you. Those are guys you'll probably not use much at the end of the year. Let's go to the NL Central. Joey Votto, worth using right now. AJ Burnett and Jack Flaherty, two pitchers you'd never use, you can now. They just made excellent decisions with a lot of how this has shaken out. Again, early in the game cycle. I know I'm excited. I am not here touting this as the best game ever yet. I'm just saying it's got potential. Because everything seems to be making sense to me right now. The ball is flying off the friggin' bat. Almost to the point where it's seemingly impossible to get people out. That's also because pitching is harder. And let's talk about that. Talk about balance. Sinker cutter is still the meta, of course. But instead of like completely destroying their pitching code, which I do think at some point pitching does need to be completely overhauled. That's an aside. But instead of like completely doing all of that, they balanced pitching out. They balanced the meta out by making it really hard to throw sinkers. We'll all get used to it, but it's really hard. Making pinpoint tracing like a different speed than it used to be. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but we have to learn that again. Lefty pinpoint is a thing, entirely different to what it used to be. In my personal experience so far, which has been like 5 or 6 BR runs and 12 event games, something like that. By the time you're listening to this, it'll be more. But at time of recording, that's what it is. I haven't seen any incredible super dots. I know super dotting was gone in 23, but like very few incredible dots have been thrown. I see a lot more balls, both by myself and my opponent, kind of leaking over the middle, which I know is frustrating, but that balance is important. The balance is important. Sorry, I got another, this dog, I'm just going to put this dog outside forever. I'm not going to do that. I love my dog. You know, the good players or the good hitters are going to thrive if hitting stays this way all year. And again, it's important to continue to remind ourselves that there is a possibility, because of the power creep, a lot of this stuff is happening because we're not using incredible cards yet. We're using cards that in their design intentionally have faults. Not every pitcher has most pitchers don't have great control. Like my best pitcher right now, I P5 Johan Santana because I just used him in Conquest exclusively. At P5, Johan Santana has 91 BB per 9, 88 control. Like that's good. It's probably like a B+. But we would never sniff those guys last year. He's got 83 hit per 9 at P5. Like this is one of the top 3 to 5 pitchers available right now. And that's what we have. So we do have to understand that there will be some adjustments made later on when pitchers get better and hitters get better. If they both escalate at the same pace, it should still even itself out and be similar to what we have now. But either way, what I'm getting at here is that offense feels great early. I hope it continues to feel great forever. But the balance they've done is phenomenal. I'm still very confused, and not necessarily in a bad way, but I'm very confused as to why the game was marketed the way it was. It took a long time to get information from SDS. And even still, during the feature premieres, they definitely touted a lot of cool stuff. Stuff that I think maybe people did not expect them to tout. But the whole every stadium is going to play better thing, or hey, we kind of jacked up some exit velos a little bit, I would have put that front and center in a blog, a feature premiere, a 60-second trailer on social. I'm just kind of stunned they didn't hype that up. Because that's what people have wanted forever. They've wanted hitting to feel rewarding. They've wanted it to feel good. And while MLB The Show 23's hitting was a far step forward from 21 and 22, this is another step forward. Again, for now. I don't want people, to start saying, all of a sudden you got a creator box and now you can't shut up about how much you love everything about SDS. Listen. Yes, it is incredibly cool that I got some swag from them. But this podcast was started as a place to speak openly about both positive and negative things of this game. That's not changing. There will be constructive criticism when it's time to give it. Constructive is the appropriate word. But right now, I have had so much. This might be one of the most fun launches I've had. Oh, and by the way, it's so smooth. The game runs so smooth. That was during early access, of course, when there weren't thousands upon thousands upon thousands more people playing. We'll see what happens upon the standard launch day, which, of course, is today. It might change. But other than 2 server outages that I know of on launch night, and I think that had entirely to do with them launching the app update at the same time, and then another fluky outage, and then a scheduled server maintenance the other night, which they do all the time, and that's not indicative of an outage. That's separate. This game has been crispy, man. In games, out of games, the menus, opening packs, everywhere, crispy. Even before the outage and after the outages, the game's been firing away. It's not like it was slowing down and like, uh-oh, we're gonna crash. It was fine. It was great. I don't know if there have been increased emphasis on servers or server rooms or more servers or just better coding. I mean, I don't know how any of it works, and that's not something they would necessarily communicate to us anyway. But it just feels good. It feels fun. And I get fired up about this stuff, guys, because this game, I've said it before, this game means a lot to me for a lot of reasons. It helped me bond with my brother. It helped me bond with friends in college. It's given me this whole little side thing that I do here with content, the podcast. I've made great relationships through this game since starting content. Like, this game's important to me. Even if I wasn't creating content, it would still be important to me. Now it's just important in another way. So I get fired up about this because when it's good, I get excited. I don't feel like playing it as a chore. I'm excited. A lot of my excitement too has a lot to do with the hope that what they're saying is what they back it up. They promise that Team Affinity 2's grind will be different, or Team Affinity Season 1 Chapter 2's grind will be different than Chapter 1, and they promise Chapter 3 will be different than those. They promised a steady power creep. They promised all this content. They're talking the talk. And so far, they've walked the walk. One of the biggest things that will very first get people yelling at SDS will be what the initial content drops look like. How often are we getting headliners and how good are they? I know they said like every Thursday or Tuesday or something like that, but like, how often are we getting them? Are they going to be phenomenally viable cards because of the power creep? Are they going to stink? Probably not, but how's the Soul Series content going to be? We're going to get that next week. How many more Spring Breakout cards are we going to get? What is opening day content going to be like? How many supercharges are we going to get? How are the ranked NBR rewards and event rewards going to continue to escalate each season so that they are cards worth grinding for to replace cards that are starting to get phased out? We need to see the consistency and the ladder approach of things getting better as we grind through a power creep mode again. I'm pretty confident based on what I've seen. I think, in my opinion, you can see a lot of the intent that went into making the game. Like, the balance thing. There was a lot of intent behind, let's make stadiums better. Let's put exit velos up. We've heard people. Let's try it. There was intent behind, like, sure, sets and seasons didn't work how we wanted. Let's not 100% scrap the idea. Let's just go back to the drawing board, keep a seasons method, but make it a marriage of what we used to be and what we are now. There was clear intent and thought behind making it work. It is way too early to say seasons works. Talk to me in 12 weeks when we get the season 2 drop and I have to grind all this over again. And then talk to me again at season 3. I get jazzed up by big content drops. That's why I love launch night. I slept 3 hours in the first 48 hours this game came out. That doesn't mean I was playing for 45 hours, but I was playing a lot. I love launch night. If you can, like, kind of replicate a launch night for me on season 2's drop, that's cool. I thought sets and seasons would be that, but it was just too monotonous. And it didn't click. You could argue like set 2's drop was kind of fun still, and then by the time set 3 came around, I was like, again? And then set 4 again, and then set 5 again. There are going to be people listening to this or watching this who are livid at me about saying nothing negative. Listen, the constructive criticism and the nitpicks are coming tomorrow, okay? Too many of you all people, that's not a sentence, too many of you people, too many of you all just thrive on cynicism and being negative. Try to put a smile on. There will be plenty of time to critique this game. But after a launch weekend that was my favorite launch weekend of all time in terms of gameplay, I'm going to gas up SDS. I think they did a great job. I am anxious, so anxious, to see where we go here. You know, for me, it's cool for me too. Not everyone necessarily shares this opinion, but like there are like Yankee legends in this game that I've always wanted to have. I completely like disregarded my normal Diamond Dynasty collection strategy to collect the Yankees first so I could get Bernie Williams. Normally I just save all my stubs for the most expensive live series card. In this case, Shohei, I think. It might be Trout. And then I just go from there. I said, screw that. I need Bernie immediately. I have had a blast using Paul O'Neill. I was 1 of 1 to P3. Nobody's at P4 yet. Interesting. I'm not necessarily like shooting for the P1 or the 1 of 1 P5. I think people who do that have a certain skill that I don't have and a certain patience I don't have. But like, it's been so much fun. I'm having fun. And you know what's even better about it? Again, it's hyper specific to me because of Paul O'Neill. If we were in the sets and seasons model and like a 93 Paul O'Neill came out at launch, as much as I love Paul O'Neill, I probably couldn't use that card because he was immediately phased out by 12 better right fielders. But because we're in the power creep, I can use 85 Paul O'Neill right now in just about every game mode and still have a ton of success. That's how to make this work. Is by giving life to guys that would otherwise just be thrown to the side. And that's why I'm so happy with the game right now. I'm curious your thoughts. I'm sure you've already left them in the comment section. What has been your experience thus far with MLB The Show 24? If you're just getting the game today, I hope this excites you. I hope this tickles your jimmies, because you're in for a fun time. Again, if you guys need any assistance on how to attack Diamond Dynasty early on, videos over the weekend, we talked about all the content in Diamond Dynasty, and we talked about like your most efficient strategy to grind stuff out. Go check those out. Otherwise, I'm going to be hitting the YouTube hard, especially for the first couple weeks of the season, or of the year, maybe even longer. I'm going to be try to be getting at least 4 videos, sometimes 5 out each week. I'm not going to guarantee Friday videos each week. I'm going to do my best when I'm sparked by something. But we're back to Monday through Thursday, baby. It's back. 10-minute mailbag on Monday, podcast on Tuesday, whiteboard Wednesday on Wednesday, and how to pitch with on Thursday. We're back. I'm so excited to share this game with everybody. I'm having a blast, just in case you can't tell. And I hope you guys do too. So thank you all for making it to the end of this episode. Please let me know your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow the podcast on Apple and Spotify. And as always, share your opinions so we can talk about this great game. Love you all, and I'll see you next time.